There, no, it says
It
live.
says you're live.
Yeah, we're always so good at that entrance. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Doctor Who stream for Doctor Who Worlds Apart stream, I should say, for August, for the 4th of August, 2022. This is a special stream because not only am I joined by erstwhile community manager Alex, who is drinking some sort of concoction in the corner there. I'm also
Guinness, but I ended up pouring it really badly, and
a crap Guinness. I'm also joined by Mr. Fat Viking himself, FV Morten, occasionally, our CEO. Welcome. What, you're just staring?
Welcome.
Staring at me.
Yes, Morten. Hello.
Sorry, I just wanted to see the panic. That's why. So.
It did kind of work. You should have done it so you weren't blinking.
What's your prick? I assumed you were doing a bit because you were blinking. If you hadn't been blinking, I would have assumed you'd crash.
You should have held it so you weren't blinking. Yeah.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, I'm not a weeping angel yet, but absolutely. But no, thank you very much, and I'm really delighted to be here. So finally, thank you for inviting me. Or actually, I invited myself. So maybe
a little bit, yeah. At the end of the last stream, Fat Viking messaged me on our company chat and was like, "I'm going to join the next one." I think he didn't want to miss out on all the fun. So, which is fair enough. It's fair enough, dude. So I'm glad you're here. Don't be pulling any tricks on me. That's not very nice.
No.
Next time you do it, I'll just get Alex to kick you. I'm pretty sure you can do that. And that'll disappoint everyone. They're here to see you, Morten. They're here to see Fat Vikings.
Honestly, I think it's different. I think they are here to see all the goodies we have in place, just to share and tell them what have we done since the last time and where we're heading. So I think this is really just like I'm looking forward to this, right? That's why I wanted to also participate in this whole thing, because again, we need to be more visible, right? That's one of the things that we have promised ourselves. We need to be much more transparent. What are we doing? And again, I'm part of this whole thing, right? Because I started back the whole Doctor Who. I was starting the whole Discord together with Andy and the rest of the team, and suddenly, of course, the company was scaling. I had other kind of responsibilities I had to, of course, focus at, and of course, we have been hiring some amazing people, really taking this game from what I would call a really good concept to something, spectacular right now, where we're heading, right? So to be honest, I'm very happy to tap into the community, and I've never left. I've always been part of this, always tapping into Discord, strange hours during the day, but of course, I've always been tapping in because this is my family, right? So yeah.
I think one thing that you're the CEO, right? Which is the leader of the business, but also you're on Discord, and I think that's always been sort of an important element, right? And we've always had that. We don't ever want to lose that, right? I think if you have a business where it starts off with someone like yourself being there and then they fade away completely, that kind of sucks, right? And it kind of shows a lack of but you have despite all the stuff that you do, you've always been very much around, very much what about the community. I think half the conversations we have, I think, are you going, well, what's the community going to think? What's the community going to do? So even if you haven't been around face to face for a long time, and I'm not sure, have you ever? Because we didn't do streams before I started, right? So you've never done a stream like this.
It's just my beautiful static picture, basically, with my fat cheeks, and that's the only thing that people have actually seen. And I think the only kind of a stream has been crypto games, right? Where I've always been supporting these guys as an event from the beginning, where I've always participated. I'm going to do the next one also, because that was kind of our stream back then, where we could inform about what are we doing and in terms of the Doctor Who side and project, because we never had the resources basically to enable that whole stream that we're doing right now, right? So this is really a good proof to the community that things is evolving, even though they feel sometimes things are at a standstill. So,
well, it's interesting you bring that up, because this is I don't think I've ever done a bigger announcement while working here than what we've got today.
No.
All the stuff, at least the last 6 months, that our developers have been working on behind the scenes, we're going to actually show some stuff today of the work, and it's a significant change to an upgrade to what we have done previously, which is nice to slowly start coming out from that promising and saying, oh, it will come out at some point, to showing the work. I don't want to spoil it. We will get into it. The format of the stream is pretty much the same as last month. From next month on, we're going to start doing more game stuff again, bringing the game front and center when we have the new build out. For this last one, it's another PowerPoint presentation, but this one is it's got some really cool stuff in. So I'm going to run through that shortly, and then we're going to ask some questions. We'll do some live questions because I think there will be quite a few questions about what we show. So we'll try to get the live questions out first and foremost. And it's also important with Fat Viking here for him to, like, me and Alex, I wouldn't say we're taking a back seat. I don't think I'm capable of doing that, but we are more able to sit back and fire those questions over to Morten, who is going to have better answers than I can give in some of those cases. That does mean that we do have a lot of questions that we have been asked for this stream we will not get to on this one. I always try to answer everything. There's been a few questions in for me, for Alex. We will get to those next month. And we might get to some today, depending on how far we get through and what happens.
If there's anything that come up that's kind of urgent in the questions that come through, we can answer on the Discord as well. As I say, yeah, I'm basically just going to be the kind of producer, just here clicking the buttons every time you guys comment, and and drinking my Guinness. So yeah,
just slowly get drunk in the background.
Yeah, no, but actually, I haven't seen the questions, so I'm really looking forward to this, right? And I think there are definitely some things that I'm hoping there will be as questions, because there's some things that I, of course, besides all these cool stuff that we want to show and really get people hyped, we also are always being honest and transparent. So there are issues. So I hope really that people have been honest and asking some of these questions. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll be, as you know, we're trying to work towards this more openness, this more honesty. There's a few questions in here that I think maybe people are going to be surprised that we're even asking, Morten, but we will be, and we'll be able to, like, give that sort of hardcore, genuine response, because some of the times when I come on and Alex is on as well, and we get asked a question, we're like, well, we think this or this might be happening, but we are not the CEO of the business. If we were, we'd get paid more.
And also, there's times where we've been told something and we're not sure if we're allowed to share it yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But then I'm the worst one, right? Because this is why I'm always held back, because I just share things, right? Because I love this, and that has also, of course, backfired sometimes, because have I shared too quickly? Has it been approved? Or basically, has it been too early in the process because it hasn't really been worked out function-wise and approved by dev team? And when can we do this and stuff like that, right? So I respect it, and I've also learned in this process, right? Everybody has learned, but especially me, I would say, is like, I love our community, and I've always respected it. That's why I've always been very honest about it, and maybe sharing too much sometimes, right? But I also feel, this is the Web3. Again, it's about establishing that kind of authenticity with the community, saying that we are here, we're transparent, we are accessible. You can access basically the CEO. I will make my time, and it's a priority, right? Because often a CEO will be buried into all investor meetings and board meetings. But I'm also buried into that. But I'm also here with the community because I prioritize this as part of my kind of like routine, right? So yeah.
And one of the things as well was like when I started, because I've already been here for a few months now, so coming up to 4 months, I think now. And when I started, it was a bit like, so we deliver the bad news to the community, and then Morten comes along and delivers the good news to the community.
He just airdrops.
And then Morten comes along and does the airdrops. I mean, as the community lead, shouldn't I kind of have that? And then Morten and I had a conversation in the kitchen in the London office about it.
You need to read the contract, Alex.
I could see the kind of like, the passion in his kind of eyes when he was kind of telling me about how he kind of wants to keep the kind of Fat Viking character alive, and he wants to do this. And
It's not-
again, I
it's
mean,
not
I
character,
totally
Alex.
understand
It's
that.
genuinely, it's just him.
Yeah.
There's
It's Alex, it's the biggest character you've ever seen. I'm just saying, you know. Like, no, but I really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys. Again, it's been a struggle, of course. It's been really that transition from like a proof of concept. We were doing really well, and we believe that, you know, this is going to fly also. This has also been a really big learning experience, going from kind of what I would call, without putting anybody down, you know, we were amateurs, you know, like looking at, you know, how we do this, and we can see these kind of things, and, you know, we think this will work. And suddenly being blessed with hiring super skilled people who actually has even more experience than we have, suddenly addressing some of this, saying, this will work. It's a really cool thing you've done, but we need to change some stuff in order for this have like mass appeal, right? So yeah, I think this is one of the things that we'll go through today, but I'm so excited, guys. So yeah, you know, just.
Well, before I start, Fat Viking, you don't appear to be drinking. You don't think that?
I'm on water.
Water.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, no, it's actually vodka, but it, you know, it looks like. No, I had a beer actually today, but I have to drive because I'm picking up my son later because there's an Ed Sheeran concert in Copenhagen.
Oh, really?
And he asked me, because there's going to be around 75,000 people at that concert. So he said, you know, it's just a nightmare. Can you pick me up later? And I was really incredibly stupid saying yes. And he's saying, you know, I could be drinking, but I'm actually choosing family. So yeah, that's why I'm drinking water.
That's very responsible. All right, I will.
I think that's a lame excuse, but
yeah.
But I'm in London next week. You know, believe me, I'm gonna catch up. You know, so.
I'm drinking Tiger. Oh, that's not working. Tiger. But I've been drinking because it's about 4 p.m. I've been it's Asian beer day for me. And
Asahi also, right?
Asahi.
Guinness for me.
What's it called? Asahi or something, right?
It's called Asahi, yeah, and Tiger.
I always get them actually just a big, you know, we can't do maybe kind of like a promotion for anybody else, but, you know, very close to the office, there's a really, really good sushi restaurant that actually have those two beers. And really good sushi also. So yeah, you know, I always get that.
Asahi is Japanese. Tiger is not, right? It's Singaporean. I like Sapporo as well, but they don't sell Sapporo in the cost cutter. And that's my exciting story of my afternoon. I sent my wife off to get the beer. Normally I walk up to Sainsbury's to get it myself, but today.
Okay.
Anyway, that's not why people are here. Alex, producer, roll the deck. Roll the deck. I don't know what that means. Okay. Roll it anyway.
There you go.
This is very dramatic. So here's our dev update. I will go through this reasonably quick. Morten, Alex, if you want to interrupt me at any point, if I'm talking nonsense, let me know.
No, don't say that, Rob. You know that's dangerous. You know.
We'll get through this.
Yeah.
We'll be all right. So quick update. That's just the content. That doesn't matter. As always, we have a bunch of new people joining us all around the business. Most importantly, not most importantly, everyone is equally important, but critically for the game, we've had Conrad start. He's head of production, and he is basically doing what a head of production does, which, if you didn't know anything about development, that means that he is basically organizing the studio from artists through to the programmers, putting work into what are called sprints, if you're using the agile development process, and basically planning and doing all of the work that goes into making a game that isn't a specific sort of division. Super, super important. We've had people doing this before in smaller roles or part-time, where they manage other things. Now we have a full-on head of production, which is a really big step into becoming a big studio. So I'm really glad Conrad's here. We've also got a lead artist in Chris. We've got animators. We've got another junior producer coming in called Sasha. We've got a QA lead, and QA is sort of bug testing side of the business. We've got more programmers, and on the website we've got 2 new designers in Carolina and Emily. These are really big. None of these roles are small. These are all important key elements to a studio. Yeah, we would have loved to have had some of these guys in 6 months ago, right? But that is not how the job market has worked, especially in crypto, Web3, NFTs. It's just a difficult market. It's very busy. We try to hire remotely with the studio, but we tend to hire in the UK so that we have this base. Well, not just the UK, but UK, Denmark, Europe. To have and we have teams all around the world, but the main studio guys are all in a sort of similar location because it helps with the timing. It makes producing easier. So yeah, that's our new team members. That's a lot of people to have in just from the last stream. And
someone asking who is Nicola?
Nicola is a back-end developer.
I can maybe quickly just say that because Nicola I've actually worked with before I even started Rarity Gaming Group. He was part of, before I started this whole company, I actually had a big web and marketing agency down in Macedonia, and he was actually one of the guys I took in and has basically just had a personal growth and is where he is today. So he's almost like family. I actually attended his wedding, so it's
really? Wow.
Yeah. And 200 people, 200 other people also. That's typical Macedonian, right? Just like you're just but yeah, Nicola.
Same as like Poland as well. They have like massive weddings there as well. They invite the whole village.
but just to quickly, just for what I've been saying, these new team members, it's amazing, right? But it also leads into kind of like, the next step of what we're doing with the whole team is also basically setting up. We have on our kind of like wish list and execution plan is that we're going to have a studio in the UK, and that's why we want to have a physical place where basically people can sit together also and meet up, because that whole physical aspect is still important in I think even more now than ever, right, after the pandemic. So
Morten, can you shift your face slightly so it aligns with
these? So where your picture is, it looks like you're the Cyberman head, like where the body is.
Oh, okay. So what do I need to do?
Just put your neck in. You can see that nearly,
No, the other way.
I like being the Cyberman. You never know who's actually in it, right? So
you've got a few too many emotions to be a Cyberman. Yeah. Sorry, we're getting distracted. Back onto new Skaro Board. New Skaro Board, updated Skaro Board. Here are some images of the new Skaro Board. Obviously, this is something that we've been working on and iterating for a long time. It might seem strange, I guess, from a development perspective to focus so hard on this one area, right? But the thing with getting this area right is that it's actually a litmus thing for every other environment. Once we get the exact vibe of Skaro right, and we're talking about the technicals, right, about is it running well, and not just is it running well on a laptop with a GPU, right, or a desktop computer, but is it going to run well on mobile for when mobile comes, and it will come, right? We don't want to start remaking every environment. Once we get Skaro into a perfect position, it's so much easier for the developers to go and produce other environments, which they're already working on now, that are going to look that good. And another, not showing it in these pictures, but we're starting to do what we call like a final pass, right? A gold master version of Skaro. I have been told there's going to be like moving sand effects and a real sort of atmosphere. And an atmosphere is, with a game like this, right? It's not the most important thing because you're looking at the cards, but it's an important element of it. And it's the thing that comes in at the last minute, VFX things like this and graphical tweaks. And let's say the sound design, right? You're gonna suddenly go from something small and not that immersive to something very immersive, very fast as we reach those final polishing points. So before we chat, I don't know if you have anything else to say about this, Morten, or...
No, only that it's so important to get this right, because we have don't get me wrong, but I think we have 6 or 8 other environments that will be executed as soon as this is actually being approved and gone into, like, these are the technical kind of requirements and set up, and so it will be easier to do new environments basically, or new boards, because now we have a template. Then it's more like just, you know, the whole UI on it, but it's really exciting, to be honest, and especially to see, from having been part of this from the beginning, where we got BBC excited with our initial kind of Skaro board, and now looking at it right now, I actually feel embarrassed, right? Just like, because god damn, you know, this is what skill sets actually bring to the table, you know, like, this is why we, you know, but in a good way, because I can see we have done good, we will be happy, but also this is why we need to spend the time basically to get things right and really focus on the quality.
Absolutely, and I think you're right, Morten. Like, it's funny looking back, isn't it? But that's something that I was told once, is that if you look back at your old work and you're not embarrassed, that's when it's a problem. If you look back on your work and it embarrasses you, that means you've got better. You know, it means
true. Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
And this is funny. I feel the same way, like, because it's a big visual part of the game, right? From when I joined and then from into early access, it's always been something that we've looked at, but it's never been the biggest focus for us, because the cards have come first, and then we've had a lot of thought and background to that, which we're going to get into very, very soon when we talk about new card design, new card artwork.
Yeah,
it's a big one, guys.
I think it's very important to address very quickly that we're talking about just the card itself. We're not talking about frames here, right?
Yes, we will talk about frames in a minute, and we will talk about the NFTs, and we will talk about your collection, and we will talk about what's going to happen. The reason this has taken so long is because we've got to think about this holistically. We've got to think about this from start to finish, for not just the game, but for the collectors, for the NFT side of it, but also for the players, and also for people that have no interest at all in the collection, which are the people that I've mentioned before. We have to bring on in a large scale. They're never going to watch this stream. They don't know what a founder's token is. They don't care. All they care about is playing a good game. And so that's where this core idea has come from, of changing some of the cards to massively improve how we are looking at them. There's some words here. Basically, you can sum this up as saying, like, okay, we are doing this for many reasons, as it says there. Less memory, brilliant. Asset optimization is very important and not particularly exciting. But what we have managed to do at the same time is bring some of this stuff in. We'll talk about serial numbers in a second with the frames. But really, the reason that we are doing this is because this game will succeed on being a good game. And everyone says that in Web3. I go to Morten and me are on a million panels where we sit there with someone who goes, "Oh, the secret is to make a good game," and it's like, that's not a secret. That's obvious. That's step one. It's always been. So the reason why I joined Reality personally was we were making a game, and it was a real game. You know, it wasn't smoke and mirrors, and that's the reason it's taken so long to get some of this stuff out, because a real game takes time to produce. We are not actually slow for a game development studio to make a game like this, but we are slow, or seemingly slow, in the world of crypto, where stuff comes out and it's not thought through. So this big thing is to think it through from the level of answering a simple question, which is, how do we make this game appealing to everyone? I always say, like, how do you make it appealing to my mum? How do we make it appealing to people that know Doctor Who, of which there are tens of millions of people, and will quite happily play a game? They're not going to play the game that we have in the state that we have it in right now. So what do? Well, we appeal to that audience without cutting out anything that's important to the core, right? No cutting out of complexity at all. We're not cutting out tactics or strategy at all. We're not cutting out the way the game feels, but we're cutting out all of the bits that get in the way of the game. So enough of me talking.
No, but I think, you know, just to highlight that one, Rob, I think one of the things is that this is why the Doctor Who game, this is why this is going to be the first blockchain game that is really going to succeed and hitting that whole thing. But this is the first brand basically moving into blockchain where it's going to succeed, because we've taken our time definitely I understand people want the frustration, people want to see quicker. I had the same kind of like, frustration, right, at some point. But to be honest, I've also really enjoyed leaning back and seeing so skilled people in action, identifying the things, identify the good and the bad, and saying that this is the solution, but it's going to take this amount of time in order to do this right. But the focus has always been mass appeal, mass market. It needs to be the biggest game out there, basically, right? So I'm very happy to see it, to be honest. I'm so excited to.
Yeah, that's right. And we need to compete with Magic. We can't just sit in the market and ignore. Like, people say, oh, Splinterlands, Gods Unchained, and those are all great products. I'm not saying anything about them, but I don't think in those terms. I think in terms of Magic the Gathering. I think in terms of Yu-Gi-Oh, because that's where we need to aim our sights. And the studio, like Morten says, like it's a case of, I think me and Morten have always felt this way, but we're not the talented people that come in and make this stuff. And so Morten hired all those talented people, a lot of them in December, January, February, and then it takes them time to look at what we've got, say what we need to improve, make it, test it, make it again. So this slide here is just showing you a little bit about how that has panned out and why we have made those changes. But here they are, and here's what they look like in full. I'm not going to go into detail on the UX because I'm not a UX person. What I will say is I looked at these. I first saw these when our very excited UX designer showed me them in the office about 3 months ago. 3 months ago, and he's
very passionate about it.
He's a very passionate man, and he was just so happy and also like constantly hoping that we could share them sooner and sooner and sooner. As you can see, the artwork is massively improved. As you can see, it's also more visible. The beauty of Doctor Who, day one when I started, I was like, the beauty of this game is in the artwork, and the big excitement of Doctor Who over other crypto games is Doctor Who. And how do you put that out there? Well, we did it with our art, and our art was always good, but it wasn't. It was hidden behind cards that sort of covered it up in a way that was like designed on a traditional, from a lot of traditional paper games, right? But maybe not as modern as it needed to be. So as you can see, the art is front and center, but also there's so many little changes in the iconography and in the way that you can easily see card types. You can easily see what a card will do. The Artrum cost is more obvious and visible, that I can stand over here, right, and I could look at that and I could still see those cards and I could still see what the cost is. And when you're playing a game and you've got 5 seconds to make a decision, it's this stuff that feels mildly important becomes critical.
And it's readable. It's readable, right? That has been one of our biggest challenges, basically, right? It wasn't readable having all these, because we were focusing very much on the frame, of course, as a frame concept, not to be a pay to win, but also the frames were actually limiting us in terms of the readability on the text, right? Now this has been solved, and this is just like, honestly, I know we were kind of on a low budget back then when we did the initial kind of like cards, but I still think it was an amazing card art to start with. But now, just seeing that now we also have the resources to really budget this, to have even better artists now, and just having this UX, which we didn't have. It was us basically seeing that, what do we like, and how do we make it, what do we think will work. Now we actually have a proper UX expert looking at this and came up with, and I spent a lot of time on this to get it right. And I'm so excited. This is really, it's amazing. So.
And do we know then on the attack it says refresh your power? Do we know what that is then?
Yes, but we're not going to tell, because I knew that Saigon, he was asking that question, and just like, that's why all the goodies are in there, Saigon. Because I want you to lose your sleep all night. What is that? You can't sleep at all tonight. So.
Yeah, Fat Viking wants you to.
I have to say, these are so much clearer, because Ian and I were playing a couple of weeks ago at the convention, and I had the cards on a projector, and even though the projector's huge, the resolution's not fantastic, and I couldn't read half the stuff. I was literally struggling, and this this is so much clearer, and
And
obviously
Alex,
the artwork.
who
is
won
amazing.
actually? Who won?
I beat
You
Ian
were Ian.
4-1. I beat.
No way,
Yeah.
you're kidding. He didn't tell
I beat
anyone.
Ian 4-1. Yeah. And literally, I filmed 3 of his reactions of him losing, and then he filmed the last one because I was winning 4-0, and I think I got a bit overconfident, and I started doing things, and I didn't realize that when you you buy a card, you actually burn your container. I didn't realize this, so at the end I had like 5 Ultron and he had 11, and then he could do so much and I couldn't do anything at the end. But yeah, 4-1 to me.
Okay. Well, at least you were very generous giving me the game, so thank you for that. So yeah, I won one game. Good, Ian. I'm happy for you.
Ian was like schooling me and Jake. Jeez, maybe you're just like naturally talented, Alex. That's all it is. It's not Ian's fault. He's actually still good, but you're just amazing. That must be it.
I think Ian's dreadful. I really think he's bad. But, yeah. I was just the better of the bad on the day, to be honest.
Okay.
It's good to know that you can beat our mods. I like that. The refresher power thing. I'm not going to give you a better answer than Fat Viking, but I will say that, like, on top of all the card stuff, and obviously the design is the focus here. When I said last month, I think it came up like, oh, we're going to see updates. We had questions about specific cards in the free set. And I was like, there's no point. What I was thinking, but I couldn't say at the time, was there's not much point in me answering these questions because we haven't just redesigned the cards. We have redesigned a core elements of how the free set and therefore the whole game is going to work. The free set is a bit like Skaro in that sense, right? It's not critical, or it's not the biggest part of why the people on the stream are into this game, right? The collection side is a huge part of it, but it is the first thing that people will see when they play. And so if we get this right, we get the game right. If we get this right, people are going to go, well, I want more of these. If we get this wrong, they've already left, right? So you'll see different. I don't know if you'll see more on these cards or not, but you will see different powers, different sets, different cards completely for the free set. We have not been light on changing the way that works. And all those talented people that came in, like the people on this slide and the people that came in before the last stream and in February and March, the fruits of their labor are now paying off. I was going to use a fruit metaphor, but I wasn't sure. I'm getting it complicated. Here's some more.
This is just amazing. It's just amazing, right? Look at this. Compared to the other one, where I was super thrilled and so excited about, the old, basically the old or current kind of artwork we have. But this one is just like, out of this world, to be honest. Like so amazing to look at this. And I love the pigment hybrids. Just love them. I need to own, so many of these.
They look really. This is going to sound weird, but like they look like the kind of things that, like, if they were real cards, you'd want to like stroke them.
Yeah, no, but it reminds me actually of the Time Factor event in London, where actually this pigment was actually doing an auction. So it was a good flashback to that whole event. So yeah, no, I love this. Really
here's a great example, right, of both the art.
Oh wow.
Way the card works. So when you put these up against, not every card has a direct one-to-one on the free card versions, but more obvious, you can see changes in how they work for sure. But you can also see how the iconography works, how the colors and the art is brought up, and even when we're taking old art there and it's not fully the full card, it just works really well. Just looks.
Yeah. Also, you can see there that there's changes with the costs of cards as well.
Yes, you can. The Ultron has reduced on that one. There's a lot of Ultron. A lot of Ultron design.
That's the balance part, right? That has been the challenging part. But basically, some of the cards, to be honest, that we designed originally has been too complex to do, right? To meet the kind of like time and being able to have that in place from a development point of view in order to launch in time. So of course, some of this is a natural kind of balance part of the whole thing, right? But this is a huge step forward, and what the whole team has been working on for months now is just like, it's just, I can't even describe how proud I am to see this.
Yeah, I think they're all going to be very happy that you guys now have seen this, because I have been wanting to show. We all have, but we have to wait through
Michael, yeah.
Michael, the guy that did the UX on the I don't know if he knows we're streaming tonight. I don't think he does, but if he knew, he'd be probably calling me up. He was like, genuinely, I've never seen a man more excited about UX on a card game.
I love it. I love it. It's really just a party just to look at him and just watch him. Basically, how excited he is, right? So yeah, no, it's really really good.
And that passion bleeds through. It bleeds through into good work. It always starts in game development and in life, but especially in game development.
No, but especially because I've seen how basically Hearthstone, how they started at the original kind of like MVP, got it out there. Then of course the progression and how they moved on and better. Right? We are experiencing kind of the same, but we have just learned, of course, with some of it. But as a natural, it's just a natural kind of flow, and you're getting better and better. So this is really good.
So,
it looks like Michael's in the comments there. Look.
Is he?
That's it. That's got to be him, isn't it?
It's got to be him.
Yeah, who's that Michael guy? So Michael is our UX guy, right? So he's doing our UX for the game and the boards and stuff like that. So
I think
that's Michael asking.
Yeah.
Oh, so it is.
That's Michael, because it's Michael George, isn't it? So yeah. That's
his name.
Sneaky guy, Michael. Just
stop being nice to him now.
Yeah. Just trying to get. Yeah. Okay. Hi, Mike. Really, Michael, really good job. We keep saying it, but it's just amazing to see.
Yeah, it is. Good job to everyone. As I always say, like everyone in the studio, it's great to see this stuff finally happen. And we are also talking very quickly, but not as in detail yet, about frames. Frames have the same process to go through for us. We have a lot of them. Some of them are amazing. Some of them need more work. All of them could do with a polish and some refinement and some standardization to bring them up to a level of quality. I can't necessarily show you that for all the frames yet. One thing I can show you is that we're going to have serial numbers on card frames, which is a great thing for collectors to finally see that on frames. This is obviously untextured model of the TARDIS frame. We've done a side shot there. We've done that because I want to wow you with these the same way we've like shown off these cards, and we're not quite ready to do that yet. These will be like the ones that I have seen, and like bearing in mind that last month I said that the cards were there was going to be an update and it was going to be a big one. The frame update is going to be big too, and the stuff that I have seen looks great. They are going to, when you combine the new frames with the new artwork, this stuff looks like a different game. It looks like a completely different game in a good way. So that's all we're showing on frames right now, but they are coming along, and all frames, this is right, Morten, all frames will be updated, every single frame.
Every frame will be looked at and standardized and make sure it fits the kind of requirements and also the quality that we are going through, right? So I know it's been a discussion earlier and going through that whole thing, but we have solved that with the legacy and the new cards thing. When we have a solution for that, because people have been kind of like annoyed about buying these as, this is the original card I bought with this artwork and this frame. We have solved that, and we're going to present you basically a solution for that. So
yes, so that Morten has been the sticking point with what we're gonna, with why it's taking a little bit longer to get this stuff out to you is what do we do? And it's all easy with the free cards, right? But these are not all free cards. We are bringing that update to every single card in UO and TLV, every single frame, every single card. What that means is a big change and it's a huge thing for people that already have these existing cards, right? So to make it as clear as I possibly can at this stage, every card will be updated. You will not lose any cards that you have. Nope. The cards that will get updated will become the cards that get used in the game, and the legacy cards that have been updated will be usable in a legacy mode. How this is going to work is that at a certain date, we haven't decided when yet, but it won't be too far in the future. Every card on your Doctor Who website account will change. Well, it won't change. It will be generating a new NFT with the same serial number and the same frame. You get to keep all of the legacy cards. You can keep them for the legacy mode, which we'll get into more detail on later, probably early next year. And it will, or you can sell them, or you can do whatever you want. Their marketplace functionality will not change. But at a certain date, all your cards will generate new cards for you. Serial number, frame, identical. We will probably work out ways for the legacy cards to be used within the planet system and later features, but we don't know how that's going to work yet, and I don't want to promise anything like upfront with that, but like that's the kind of thing we're looking at for them. And yeah, like that's the idea. Like we're done with the presentation now, so me and answering questions about this, because I know this is going to be some questions here, but we have done this to be as fair. It's effectively an airdrop. It's the world's biggest airdrop of cards, because you're not going to reduce them. And I think I said this last time, but like, imagine having early tradable, valuable items from a project that then updates, right? Imagine having like the earliest World of Warcraft items that you could actually have a value for. And this is the real power of the Web3 and the NFT side. That stuff in a lot of games, when a game updates, it vanishes. I play Final Fantasy 14. The early game now, the original version of that game is gone. It's completely wiped out because it wasn't very good. And the new version of that game is amazing. But like the items and the worlds and the stories of the original game are gone forever. And Web3 and NFT gives us a way to not only tell that story, it gives us a way to have that story be a part of the market, a part of the fun. So that's what we've tried to do with this. We're still ironing out details, but we have to move forward with quality, and we have to move forward with shit that's good, right? Really good. Sorry for swearing, but I'm really excited about this. Morten, I'm sure you want to say stuff.
No, but honestly, this is why it's so important, right? And I know we were going to address some of the questions at the end, so I won't go into that kind of thing, but it has been vital for us, and that's why it's taking a long time, because we knew that we were going to change some stuff, but how do we also respect the OGs in this, who's people who invested money, so they will still keep it, and again, we will have a legacy mode where you can play, where again, it's an OG mode, right? You need to have the legacy cards in order to enter this space. So that alone for me is super exciting, because again, it's just a fun way where we can have, like, we have our really cool community with Founders Token. Suddenly now we also have kind of an exclusive community around legacy cards, right? So for me, that is very exciting. I think we're respecting people have an NFT, has bought it as an NFT. I totally understand that we have changed some stuff along the way, but I think right now we have found the right approach moving forward. And again, respecting that and giving that free airdrop as a copy in the new kind of look and feel, that for me is a perfect solution for this whole thing. And I actually think this will be super fun to have a kind of a broken in terms of abilities in some cards where it's going to be fucked up and there's no real balance. That alone, I'm looking forward to that whole thing, because that won't be balanced in the same way, and it will create basically just a true Viking kind of war, I think. So everybody will just be going into, right, and full on.
It's the Fat Viking edition of the game, really, isn't it?
Yes, right? Exactly.
Horrifically unbalanced, but hilarious, just like you, Morten.
Yeah, just like me, I'm not balanced at all, right? So yeah, I think it actually fits me much better playing that kind of legacy mode.
I've seen a few questions. I know Alex is pinning some.
I've been starring the questions, and there's a mode on here where I can pull all the questions I've starred at the end. So if you want me to start going through those, I just want to add as well that I started 3 or 4 months ago. And since that 3 or 4 months, loads of things have been announced. And, it may be a coincidence, it may not be, but I just wanted to say that. And also, I'm not the one to let the truth get in the way of a good story. I just want to add that as well. So from the beginning, Vitus, can you say what the current feedback about the game overall has been from the BBC?
All right. What you need to remember about the BBC I think I may have said this before, I may not have done. The BBC don't really give us the feedback has been good. What they don't normally do is they don't normally give you feedback much on the game. What most of the feedback from the BBC will be really important feedback on what you call brand, right? So if we put the wrong color of Dalek in the wrong situation, if we put the 10th Doctor in something, well, the 11th Doctor should be featured, right? That's where the BBC will go, no, that's wrong. If we use the wrong sound effects, if we mess with canon in a way that is unpredictable or that we haven't had approval of, that's where the BBC get involved normally. What the BBC don't tend to do is say your game is good or your game is bad, because they're not. A lot of the people at the BBC, they're not games people. They're not a games company. So the closest people to the product and the producers on the BBC side have played it, and like Morten says, I don't know if you want to add anything to this, Morten, but like they've always had an excitement to this because I need to be careful with my words here, but I think we have a higher quality bar for a Doctor Who game that has ever been produced, or that feels like, and maybe not, because there are lots of great Doctor Who games like The Lonely Assassins, right? But like, I think we are producing something larger than the standard license game has been. And when you look at all like the Wii platformers and stuff, I think we're producing something with a lot more scope. And I think the thing that excites the BBC the most is that we launch and then we keep going. And we can fit into them in 2 years' time. What are they doing in 3 years' time? Who's the new Doctor? What's our cards for that? And I think that's where they get excited.
Yeah, both that, Rob. But I also think it's another kind of like, not maybe an obvious kind of like thing, but basically we're helping a traditional kind of Web 2 old IP and transition into Web 3. This is a whole new world for them, right? And tapping into the Web 3 world is also making sure we actually are now ensuring their kind of like legacy moves on, even though, of course, the whole show is going to continue. But from my point of view, we are actually taking a traditional Web 2 company and future-proof them by taking them into the Web 3 and taking this brand, because, again, we have to keep in mind, this is the cool thing, right? You know, they still get a cut basically on the royalties when every time this card is being sold, right? So it's also securing them actually a revenue stream so they can continue working on the show, higher quality, better quality, and so on, right? So it all floats together, and I think they're super excited about this whole new Web3, where we are protecting the brand. First of all, we are very brand guardians around that. We respect the kind of like procedures in place, even though we can think that it takes time and all that kind of thing, we can be frustrated. But we also are respecting their brand, and they know that. You know, they understand that we have been working with brands before on how to navigate that whole space, but really unlocking a whole new revenue model for them and taking their existing brand into something new. Even though it's a trading card game, but it's still very new. And I think the quality we are showing them right now, and that's why it's so important to have been part of this from the beginning to see where we are right now. They have seen the big difference, and that's why I also think they are super excited to be part of this.
Okay. So next up is what will happen to the old card artwork?
It's still going to continue. We're still going to keep it. You know, you're going to have it in the legacy cards in that sense, and then in the new cards that's been airdropped. So if you own, let's say, Brian the Oud, you're going to basically have a copy of that with the same serial number, the same frame, but in an updated card, an updated frame in that sense, right? So no difference. And then with the legacy card, you'll be able to basically enter into a legacy mode at some point where you can use the card, and then you can have the new card and transfer that out or whatever you want to do, right? Same kind of like abilities.
Yeah. I think I don't know if this has been planned or if we're doing this, but like I think we're never going to get rid of that artwork, and it would be nice to have that viewable on the web or viewable in the collection in some form. And as you know, like the artworks are all very viewable on the web right now, and obviously the cards will now have two artworks, but it won't ever be removed from the experience.
No, it's gonna be exciting. What I think is really cool with these ones is that we're gonna have serial numbers on them, right? You know, again, it's just readability. I think the whole thing is just taking it a notch up and really making it much better, right? Other than that, nothing is really going to change. Of course, the legacy card has a different card ability because it needs to be balanced out. So that's why we're not punishing people with having a card that basically is going to change, because you're going to keep the old artwork, going to keep the old frame, and then you're going to get the new one, right? So it's just a double, basically a win-win situation. I think so.
I've got my dog going mad in the background.
He
just literally
see that.
It ran out. It got his pee pad, and then run back in the room. So I think he's a bit of a shy. He's gone now in my bedroom with the pee pad, which is quite bizarre.
Yeah, I'm more worried about if it's opening the door itself. That's the
no.
Up, pulls the handle.
He's about like this big. You can't really do a lot. Yeah. Someone's asking about this one, which is quite not really much of a question, but they're excellent. But how? Because so they're probably saying this is excellent. How does this affect the value of the older cards? It won't really affect it because you're going to get the legacy card and the newer card. So overall, you're going to have two cards for the price of one.
You're going to have two cards, but to be honest, from my point of view, and this is of course speculative, right? None of us actually knows, but honestly, what we're always working towards and working, is like with the Founders Token, bring as much value into OGs, people who have been supporting us and really been part of this from the beginning, right? So I expect, because we're going to have this really crazy legacy mode, and this will be like an exclusive club where you can only enter if you have legacy card. I actually believe we will see some of these legacy cards now being traded and suddenly be hyped, because I want to have this. Also, I think the marketplace right now is going to be cleaned up quite quickly because either people are pulling off basically their cards from being listed. So sorry support, you're going to get even more work now, but I'm going to address that later. But basically what I'm seeing now is people will take their cards off, and some cards I think will be sold because people want to enter the legacy mode. So I actually think we will see more trades going on, and but again, I don't know, to be honest. That is purely
the simplest.
The consequences.
The simplest term is that basically every asset that's out at the moment is going to be two. It's going to be split into two. So it's like not halving, but so it's going to be like split into two, and you're going to have double the assets. But then in future, when everything's in place, the newer cards is just going to be one. So yeah, it'll be rarer.
That's like the most important. I think FV has touched on the most important thing, which is we don't know. And I'm involved in crypto projects, in NFTs, outside of work, as are a lot of people in the business. The difference between a good project and a bad is a bad project doesn't ask that question of themselves, right? How are these cards? Well, we can't guarantee that the value is going to be positive or negative. We can't, because it's a fiction that anyone can. Yeah. Anyone that tells you that it can guarantee it is lying to you, and I will happily say that. I'm normally quite careful about that with other projects, but like you hear that from anyone, that they're lying. What we do though is we ask that question ourselves, and what all the good projects that you'll see do is they ask that question: how will that affect the value? We don't show, like, those cards were ready really from not ready, but they were produced by Michael and designed by Thomas and Marcy, our designers, a long time ago. That initial design that's been floating around for ages. But then we've gone, okay, what do we do with those cards? And that's the question. The first question that me, Morten, Tony, who I think some of you guys have seen talk, that's the first thing we ask. How does this affect the market? If you don't ask that question, then you get in trouble. You don't always know the answer, but you always need to ask the question.
Yeah.
The question that keeps coming up as well is in different forms. It's come up. So what we'll go to Vita's one because it's quite more in depth. But how would this affect the cards on OpenSea? And will these additional new cards also be transferable?
Yeah, they will. Just to quickly give you an idea around that. Of course, they are now being transferred out of our chain and now into Ethereum and basically listed on OpenSea, right? So what's going to happen is when the user needs to delist these in order to go back and basically claim the new one, right? Because we know what kind of wallet externally now has this. We can't airdrop it because we could, but the problem would be eventually that it could cost a lot of money in gas fees. And it's a decision we can take to do, but we are taking a different approach that the user needs to basically deposit it back into our chain in order to play it, and also claim kind of like the new card, right? And we will of course keep track on, has this been claimed before or hasn't it been claimed? And the new cards, of course, are also being transferred into any kind of chain that we're doing. And right now it's still only Polygon, Ethereum, and Binance, but we are right now looking at the next. It's going to be Solana, it's going to be Hedera, and maybe another one also. But we are looking at, of course, expanding where the user is, because we are chain agnostic in that way, that it's your choice where you want to take the card.
Sure. Bubba Jones has asked a question several times, but they need to raise a ticket with support.
Question, yeah, like everyone, you should be able to access the site. If you can't access the site, it is a support problem.
Support issue.
We have previously had a few issues a few weeks back with the marketplace. Site runs is working, so if you're not able to access it, that is a technical problem that we'll have to have a look at. Which actually, Alex, brings us on to an important question that we wanted to chat about. That I know.
I think it's
yeah,
I think it's.
I've only got a couple more questions, so if we just do the questions quickly and then we go on to the other bits after. Is there any chance of any more rarity levels other than legendary? So we have like a 1% rarity in future.
No, honestly, but legendary is already kind of hard to get if looking at it, and especially because it's predefined in that sense that this card is going to have this one, but it is still really hard to get a legendary, to be honest. I think we found a good balance. I agree that legendary could be even rarer, right? But looking at a simple thing like a black diamond, like even though it's an unlimited frame, we actually have some black diamond combos with a legendary, a black diamond, with this card and maybe this one. It's actually down to even 0.2% rarity chance of getting that combo, right? So it's more like the combo part of it that you need to look at, but we're not changing the rarity levels right now. We're going to keep the same rarity levels also on the new cards. So I saw a question about that. So we're going to keep those. So don't worry about that. It's not going to be basically removed, but it's going to be architect typed driven in terms of cards and new releases and stuff like that.
So will the OG legacy mode be as playable, profitable for the owners of OG cards?
Of course. For me, it's all about bringing value and how can we use this? See it as an exclusive kind of like Bored Ape, right? Suddenly, I'm not saying we only have 10,000, we have more than 10,000 cards, but you're part of an exclusive club where you have access to an exclusive play mode, where of course we're going to have crazy stuff, exactly like we have the Founders Token. For me, this is a new way to bring more people and more players into an exclusive club where it's always been kind of a little bit of scene of a battle between Founders Token and I would say a kind of normal community. I think now we're actually bringing them closer together instead of having a big bridge. Do you have a Founders Token? Don't you have a Founders Token? And so on, right? So I think right now we have found a really good compromise also to bring them closer, but still have exclusive, super exclusive club as a Founders Token, and of course in the legacy mode, OGs.
Okay. I'm just going through. Sorry, people are asking if they'll be able to sell packs in future.
Yeah, they will. The complexity.
That's something that's quite popular.
Yeah, it's going to be addressed, and it's not going to affect the current kind of packs that is out there in the store will not be having this feature. So if you have packs right now, there's no reason why to hang on to them. Open it, get basically the cards. Because that's also something part of this whole trading and exchanging, right? But basically, just open the pack. If you don't want to open it, it's fine by us. But it's only going to be in future packs next year, and we're going to announce from what packs this is going to be affected from, because it's a blockchain side that we need to make sure that we're going to basically still be able to have the algorithm, have the balance inside the game when you open it. Even though you're going to open the card or the pack in 3 years' time, or you're going to save it for 10 years, we need to future-proof this one. That is why it's taking so long to really run through any kind of scenario, any kind of potential threat, hack, whatever, right? So it's a whole audit thing and a test thing. So yeah, it is very complex, and I agree it takes time, and it's just what it is, right? But eventually, yeah, you will be able to sell packs.
Cool. And then also about bids and auctions on the marketplace.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Mints or auctions is also coming, and of course our big what I think I've been pushing so much for is the peer-to-peer, of course, right? So
which has been massively worked on in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
I got sent a website roadmap. It's internal right now. That was mapping out all of the little bits, and there's just lots of little bits and pieces that need to get sorted. I didn't think about.
No,
the quick answer to that I got is yes. So yeah, once the trade happens, you can trade and sell, do what you want with them.
No, it's just sorry. Just quickly on the P2P thing, I just wanted to say that that has taken longer because of audit. Also, again, we've seen some big kind of like crypto projects, game projects being hacked. Also, all this kind of things, always a risk, right? And every time something happens like this, we basically need to recheck everything we've done to make sure have we covered all of this, right? So basically, it's gonna come, and I can also say it's gonna come end of this month because I've just agreed to that. Done the basic kind of like final touches on it. So now it's gone into the final kind of stage of QA, and then we have basically we're very confident now that we can release this by the end of this month, and that will also suddenly give it, I think, a very interesting kind of like this trading happening behind the scene, because often I actually are only listing things that I think will sell, but maybe there are actually cards that I have that others will be interested in, but they don't know that I have them. So I think this peer-to-peer, if you have allowed the privacy, because you will have privacy settings, of course, but actually allowing you for others to look into your collection and give you an offer or propose an offer basically on a card, right? So I think that will encourage also some really cool kind of interesting kind of like what's happening in the peer-to-peer space, right? But I'm very happy
what about rental?
Rental is something we're looking at. It's a bigger complex kind of like thing, but it's something that we have on the roadmap. We want to do it, but we need to make sure basically how is this meeting the future regulation demands in terms of KYC, AML also, because it can actually be used for money laundering. And suddenly it's a whole other discussion we're having. I understand that people don't get that and saying, yeah, why would people use it for money laundering? Believe me, people are very creative, and we are still acting on behalf of big brands and AAA brands. We need to make sure that it can't be abused in that way. They will always find holes in the system, right? But we need to make sure that actually our kind of like super cool functions won't be abused.
All right, guys, I want to start
over to you, Rob. Sorry,
wrapping it up. I know there's still outstanding questions. We are going to be streaming when the new build is out this month, so me and Alex will get to a lot of those then. Keep them coming in. If we can answer them immediately, we will do. There are still things that we can't answer straight away. Before we wrap, though, there are a couple of questions that haven't been asked in the chat today, but I know have come up in the community that while I have Fat Viking here, I just want to cover. First question is, what is happening with our community manager, Camilla, and what's been going on there? Because I know a few people are like...
Yeah, no, I fully, again, people know I'm very transparent. Basically, Camilla has been off a few weeks now, a lot of weeks, actually 6 weeks, I think so, with stress-related symptoms. And we want to treat this very carefully because, of course, people comes first, right? And we want to make sure that she gets the time and basically the calmness to recover, and don't pressure that into getting too quickly back to work, because again, stress is something we need to take very seriously. And also, of course, we need to look at what has caused that, what can we change internally, if it's us in the company, and so on, right? So it's part of a bigger thing. The thing is with that is that because of Danish law, I actually can't go out and replace her because she is on sick leave in that sense. So I can't go out and just replace her in the same role because Danish law is actually against that. So I have to wait until either we find like a mutual kind of agreement that, split up because this is not going to work, or she resigns, or basically she gets fired, because in Danish law, if you're sick for more than 120 days, then by law we can't fire you without actually, because we need to move on as a business, right? So that's like a respectful kind of like period where 120 days gives you kind of time to make out a plan like that from her recovery. So that's where we are right now.
Yeah, we are trying to get through this, sort this out, make it work out. And we don't want to, like, it's impossible. It's difficult for us to talk about personal stuff, and it's not fair on Camilla if we do. That's the most that we can say. But also, this is a community, and it's a close community, and people know her. They know her, and their friends, and like we have to. We didn't want to just not acknowledge it, so we thought it was important to answer the question as well as we can answer the question. So that what Morten has said is that is.
We just want to be transparent. Want to be transparent of this, and just again, we are giving her the time to recover, and basically just like we don't want to any kind of pressure on her. So that's the most important thing for us, to be honest. And then we just need to help each other in the community to really get things moving. And if there's any questions, that's why, like, address it. I know Alex is really spending even more time on it. And we have some amazing mods also, like, who's always ready to help. And of course, everybody's now trying to take some more responsibility to also help and cover what Camilla was doing. And, we're just all there to basically to help out, right? So, yes.
And the last question that we will finish with today, which I think has been brought up, especially in the last couple of weeks. I think it's maybe been an issue for a little bit longer, which is support tickets and timelines. What's going on? What's the update?
Yeah, because of course, in the beginning, we assigned internally that our CWS team, in this case, Nicola, was primarily taking support tickets. Still, our community has grown. We have had more support tickets. We definitely have some issues in between, and support hasn't been working at all. And we know that, right? And we have known that for a while. It also takes a long time to figure out what kind of support system do we need? How are we going to handle tickets? How is that kind of structure going to be? What happens in weekends and holidays? And we, of course, need to have everything approved up in the system, and basically what kind of team are we hiring, an external team, and so on and so on, right? But we are on it. We're almost there with a solution, but it's something we're taking very seriously, and we are going to improve it, and we are going to hire more people to handle support and making sure we have a proper support system in place that also gives you updates on your tickets, where it's at, and progress on it, and so on. So yes, we are fully aware about that. Yeah,
we're acknowledging the situation, and I think it's just taking a little bit of time for us to catch up with looking at the card on that side. And,
the support email is it support@rarity plus? Is that correct?
No, support@drwhoworldsapart.com.
Okay. So that's because Bubba Jones is not on Discord. So if you can contact via that, then
exactly that would be the easiest. Yeah, that would be the easiest one. Then they can help you out. So just support, write support, and of course we are trying to really push that and make sure it's being addressed as quickly as possible. The thing is that we haven't had a transparent system in place, meaning that we are giving you a reply, or basically a reply to an email once it's like we have received it, but actually giving you an update alongside where is your ticket, and that's creating the frustration. And just to quickly, just like when it's also related to blockchain, things takes more time, right? And how are we handling it? Do we need to support manually, basically help you with support and getting your card back into the right system? Because even though we have our chain and that also have its kind of like own life sometimes, but we also have to know that we are connected to 3 other chains and networks that also have issues, and sometimes we need to address that to their kind of support, wait for them to reply, and we just need to be more transparent about where it is and basically the expected kind of like time to solve this, right? So yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you, Morten. Thank you, Alex. I don't want to run this over too long. I'm having a lovely time. I could talk to you guys for much longer, but I want to make sure that people don't get tired of us chatting. Morten, you clearly have something that you want to say.
I really, I think one of the things I really want to, and actually we haven't agreed maybe to this, Rob. I really want to burn one of the packs right now. Just like, I think I think tomorrow we should choose right now in the community right here what kind of pack should we actually burn that is not going to be on the marketplace in 24 hours.
Not cybernetics. Don't say
Wow.
Not cybernetics. I would honestly propose the Lord President.
TLP, yeah, TLP.
All right, we're waiting for some comments to come through then on that.
TLP has been there. TLP has
There you
been
go,
there
straight
for way too long. Let's burn that. Let's burn the Time Lord President.
TLP.
Yeah.
TLP.
All right.
TLP agree.
Anyone
Burn.
that thinks this is scripted? It bloody isn't. It's the first I've heard of this.
TLP is almost sold out as well.
Yeah, let's kill it. Let's burn it.
TLP, bye-bye.
But I'm sure as you announced live on the stream, it's possible to do.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 for that. And
I can clearly see this is like more than 80% has actually voted. So it's clearly the TLP that people has chosen, and we need to listen to our community. So I'm really happy for that, because I think it should have been done way earlier, and that will also, of course, is something we are looking at. What is the next one we're going to burn? But believe me, I'm going to come up with cool ideas for that one. But I definitely, I'm happy the community is supporting in this, because we're gonna burn the TLP and tomorrow. So yes,
amazing.
Wow.
Amazing. I'm excited.
Glitch Angels has come up a couple of times as well.
I knew you were going to do something weird.
We've got three for Glitch Angels.
The water, that's why, the vodka is kicking in, so.
It's all TLP, but then
some Glitch
Angels is coming as well.
We're gonna. I've said this last stream about the burn-in and the sort of the move towards the new cards, the new packs, the new updated frames. We're not actually releasing any new frames anytime soon, but the updated frames in different packs, perhaps. All of those require this transition from the old to the new. And I don't mind how we do it. We can do this through an announcement on stream. We can do this through votes on Discord. We will slowly be burning those cards as we move in. And we've always promised to do that. We always will. As we move into the new stuff, I think there'll be more packs with a time limit. There'll be more packs that will sell out on a much smaller, additional. So the idea is to have special packs that come out with the show, with anniversary pieces that are maybe 100 packs. Or maybe 48 hours. We need to make sure that the cards within them are still accessible. The gameplay and the balance doesn't get changed.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks, Morten.
Two quick things. I just seeing
two more things.
No. I'm just seeing, because there's somebody saying I have KYC problems. I can't take them out. Please ping me in Discord, and let's try and see how we can help you get KYC. And I need to understand and dig into that, but. Basically, write support, and in your support ticket, please write that I need to be CC'd on it, and then internally that will be handled, just so I am aware, because maybe I can help out and address this to our KYC company that we're using, right? And then the other one is just like people are voting for the glitch and are seeing "Am I nuts?" And I know her from the Discord, right? And she's saying they are too weird, and I think they are glitched for a reason. I'm not saying it's because she's not understanding it, but I'm just saying she is kind of nuts. So maybe that's the reason why she thinks it's too weird. But am I nuts? I'm looking forward to a battle with you in the Discord. So thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for this. I know it's been a big update and big changes. I think they're all for the better.
Yes.
It's been very good, Morten, Fat Viking, FV, to have you on the stream, to have you answer some questions. I want to invite you back soon. The next one, we'll get through some of the more questions that were directed at me, Alex, and we're going to be playing the game on the new build, which is coming this month. So that will be the next stream. I don't have a date yet because I don't have an exact date for when that build will be out. It will be this month. We will play. We will explore. We will see if Alex is actually any good at the game or if Ian is just bad.
Well, I'm gonna practice, because I am a really bad loser, and
good.
As Ian, but the thing is as Ian knows, I'm a really bad winner as well. So either way, it's not good. So
Oh, the same thing here, Alex. You know, I'm gonna be the same, right? So no, I'm really looking forward to it, Rob. Always happy to jump in and always happy to be participating in this. I think this is a big priority for me to be part of these streams moving forward. When it makes sense, of course, to have me on. But of course, I'm always happy to be here, right? Again, let's all get this community super pumped. I think really now what we are presenting, how we're going to solve this, the new cards moving forward. This is why now we're going to be that, you know, this community needs to grow, right? And we need to show that. And there's going to come so many different kind of updates, everything from website to so many other things. So I'm really excited that the journey we're on right now. So keep just, you know, keep posted basically, right? Just keep in here and just be in Discord, making sure to make yourself updated, right? You know, what is happening, because first of all, our Discord is amazing, our community is amazing, and our March is doing an amazing job. So I'm just really proud to be having a community like that. So, you know, thank you very much, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
I will now dive into my time fracture and actually run away.
Well, goodbye, Morten.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thank you very
Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back in like a month's time or so. What I will do is I'll raise, less than a month. I will raise a Google Forms again so that you can get the questions across. Any of the questions we missed, we will go through again next time because we haven't got Fat Viking there. And do the usual like, comment, subscribe, share. And yeah, we appreciate you being here. So thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.